March 11th, 2003, 2:47 p.m., Los Angeles. A girl is dying somewhere in the San Bernardino Mountains. Authorities say she has maybe 6 hours. She doesn't have 6 hours. Her insulin ran out 22 hours ago. Search and rescue teams have already reclassified the operation from rescue to recovery. They're looking for bodies now, not survivors. Then a phone rings in a publicist's office in Beverly Hills. What Harrison Ford says in the next 12 seconds will cost him 7 figures, destroy professional relationships, and save a life that nobody will ever know about. Here is the story. 72 hours before the premiere. Michelle Beager sits in her corner office on Wilshire Boulevard, 7th floor, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. She's 43 years old, wearing a black Armani suit, and she's built her entire career on one principle: control the narrative. On her desk, 3 monitors glow: left screen, media schedules; center screen, client commitments; right screen, contract obligations. Harrison Ford's name appears on all 3. March 14th, Friday, 7 p.m., the Kodak Theater, world premiere, not Ford's movie. He's a guest, special appearance, but his name on the invite list means something. It means photographers show up 3 hours early. It means entertainment reporters block their entire evening. It means brands pay 6 figures just to have their logos in the same frame as his face. Ford confirmed 6 months ago, signed the commitment letter himself. Michelle has built an entire publicity strategy around those 4 hours of his time. Her assistant knocks, comes in, sets down a folder, media run sheet, minute by minute. 6:15 p.m. Ford arrives in town car. 6:22 p.m. First photo op, main carpet. 6:35 p.m. Entertainment Tonight, 90-second interview, pre-approved questions only. 6:48 p.m. Access Hollywood, same protocol. 7 p.m. Inside the theater. 9:30 p.m. Exit through back entrance. Avoid drunk celebrities. Simple, controlled, perfect. Michelle's phone rings. Unknown number. She almost doesn't answer. Then she does. Ford's voice, calm, too calm. Like he's already made a decision and he's just informing her of consequences. I need to cancel Friday. Michelle laughs. Actually laughs. Because this has to be a joke. Because you don't cancel a commitment made 6 months ago, 72 hours before execution, when 47 different people have synchronized their entire week around your presence. Harrison, if this is about the interview questions, we can... It's not about the questions. Then what? I have to fly somewhere. Silence. Long. Heavy. Michelle's brain does the math. Flies somewhere means not here. Not here means breach of contract. Breach of contract means lawsuits, damaged relationships, her reputation in shreds. She's worked with Ford for 11 years. He's never done this. Not once. Fly where? San Bernardino Mountains. Why? There's a family missing. Search was suspended. I'm going to look. Michelle closes her eyes, counts to 3, opens them. Harrison, we have a binding agreement. You signed. I know what I signed. Studios are expecting you. Press is scheduled. Brands have paid for... A girl is dying, Michelle. You don't know that. I know they stopped looking. She checks her watch. 2:51 p.m., 73 hours until the premiere. She can fix this. She can always fix this. I'll send a donation. We'll write a check, whatever amount you want, but you cannot miss Friday. Ford doesn't respond immediately. On his end, she hears something. Metal on metal. A hatch opening. I'm not sending money, Michelle. I'm going myself. You're a movie star, not search and rescue. I'm a pilot with 8,000 hours and a plane in my hangar. That's more useful than anything happening on a red carpet. This will cost you. I know. Relationships, contracts, future. I know. Then why? The line goes dead. Michelle stares at her phone. 47 different people are about to have very bad news. She starts making calls. Santa Monica Airport, Hangar 7, Ford's private space. 1,200 square feet of concrete, tools, and aviation equipment most people wouldn't recognize. His Cessna 208 Caravan sits in the center. Single-engine turboprop, 12 seats, range 964 miles. He's owned it for 7 years, knows every bolt, every wire, every sound the engine makes when something's wrong. He checks fuel, full, always full. Checks oil, good. Checks emergency supplies, medical kit, water, thermal blankets, flares, satellite phone. He runs through the checklist twice. Not because he needs to, because habits keep you alive when adrenaline doesn't. His phone vibrates. Michelle. He declines. Vibrates again. His agent. Declines. Vibrates again. Studio executive. Declines. He turns it off. Puts it in a drawer. Locks the drawer. On the wall, a map of California. He studies it. San Bernardino National Forest. 823,000 acres. Most of it wilderness. The family disappeared near Holcomb Valley. Last known position, 34.3 degree and 116.9 degree drive. Search teams covered a 12-mile radius, found nothing, suspended operations at noon today. Ford traces possible routes with his finger. If they were hiking and got lost, if they went off trail, if someone got injured and they couldn't move. If. He doesn't do if. He does where and how and when. 3:15 p.m. He opens the hangar doors. Sunlight floods in. He pushes the Cessna onto the tarmac, starts the engine. The turboprop roars to life. He runs through pre-flight, flaps, rudder, ailerons, trim. Everything responds. Tower clears him for takeoff. He taxis, reaches the runway, throttle forward. The Cessna accelerates, 60 knots, 80, 100, nose up, wheels leave ground. He's airborne. Below, Los Angeles spreads out like a circuit board. Millions of people, millions of lives. Somewhere in those mountains, 3 of those lives are running out of time. Ford doesn't think about the premiere, doesn't think about the contracts. Doesn't think about Michelle, or the studio executives, or the Entertainment Tonight crew already setting up cameras outside the Kodak Theater. He thinks about a girl he's never met, 11 years old, type 1 diabetes, insulin dependent. Last dose, yesterday morning. Current time, 3:18 p.m. Time since last insulin, 26 hours. Time until critical organ failure. Medical estimates say she's already there. Medical estimates have been wrong before. Flight time to search area, 42 minutes. Ford climbs to 9,000 feet, levels off. The city falls away behind him. Ahead, mountains rise. San Bernardino, San Gorgonio, peaks over 11,000 feet. Valleys deep enough to swallow sound. Forests thick enough to hide entire civilizations. Somewhere down there, a family is waiting for help that isn't coming. Ford adjusts his heading, checks his watch, checks the sun. 4 hours of good daylight left. Maybe 5 if he pushes it. After that, flying low over mountains in the dark becomes suicide. 4 hours to find 3 people in 823,000 acres. The math doesn't work. Never does. He flies anyway. Michelle's office, 3:47 p.m. She's on her 4th call. This one's with the studio's head of publicity, a woman named Patricia Greenfield, 61 years old, 38 years in the industry, seen everything, survived everything, does not tolerate disruption. Explain to me how this happened. Michelle grips her phone. Harrison had a personal emergency. Personal emergencies happen to normal people. Harrison Ford is not normal people. Harrison Ford is a contractual obligation worth $3.2 million in calculated media value. You understand that number, Michelle? I understand. Do you understand that we have 17 international outlets scheduled? Do you understand that we have brand partnerships contingent on his appearance? Do you understand that his name is literally printed on the fucking invitations? Michelle says nothing. Patricia continues. I want him on that carpet Friday at 6:15 p.m. I don't care if you have to drag him there yourself. I don't care if you have to call in every favor you've ever earned. I don't care if you have to... He turned off his phone. Silence. Say that again. Harrison turned off his phone. I can't reach him. Then find someone who can. Patricia, he's in a plane, somewhere over... I don't care if he's on the fucking moon, Michelle. You find him, you bring him back. Or you start looking for a new career, are we clear? Crystal. Patricia hangs up. Michelle sits, stares at her monitors. On the center screen, Ford's schedule glows. Friday, 6:15 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. 4 hours that were supposed to be simple, controlled, perfect. She pulls up his emergency contacts, his ex-wife, his kids, his lawyer. She starts dialing. Nobody knows where he is, or if they do, they're not saying. San Bernardino Mountains, 4:33 p.m. Ford flies a grid pattern, north-south, east-west, methodical, low, 500 feet above the canopy, low enough to see details, high enough to avoid hitting trees if wind shears. The Cessna responds to every touch. He knows this plane the way surgeons know scalpels. Below, endless forest, ponderosa pine, Jeffrey pine, white fir. From up here, it looks peaceful, beautiful even. But Ford knows better. He's flown rescue missions before, volunteered for search and rescue for 16 years. Found hikers, lost climbers, crashed planes, found bodies too. More than he'd like to remember. He scans the ground. Looks for things that don't belong. Color that's wrong, shape that's unnatural, movement that's human. Nothing, he checks his fuel. 3/4, enough for another 90 minutes of search, plus reserve for landing. The sun hangs low, maybe 3 hours of light left. 3 hours to cover terrain that took professional teams 2 days to search, and they found nothing. He keeps flying. 4:52 p.m., something, maybe, a flash of blue, against red rock. He banks, circles back, descends to 300 feet. Trees blow past. He finds the spot again. Blue fabric, synthetic, not natural. Could be anything, could be trash, could be camping gear left behind, could be a person. Ford's heart rate doesn't change. Trained for this, he marks the coordinates on his GPS, looks for somewhere to land, spots a clearing, 600 meters east, long enough, maybe. He'll find out when he tries. He brings the Cessna around, lines up, descends. The clearing rushes up, trees on both sides. He cuts power, flares, the wheels touch dirt, rough. The plane bounces, settles, rolls. He brakes, hard. The Cessna stops with 37 meters to spare, 37 meters between controlled landing and flying into a forest. Ford kills the engine. Silence. The kind of silence that only exists in wilderness. No cars, no planes, no voices. Just wind through trees and his own breathing. He opens the door, steps out. Air is thin, cold. Elevation here is 9,200 feet. He pulls on a jacket, grabs the medical kit, grabs water, starts walking toward the coordinates. The ground is uneven. Rocks, roots, loose dirt. He moves carefully, checks his GPS. 400 meters, 300, 200. Then he hears it. A voice. Weak, desperate. Help! Female, young. Ford moves faster, pushes through brush, jumps over a fallen log, climbs down into a ravine, and there they are, a man, 40-something, lying against a boulder, left leg bent wrong, compound fracture, tibia through skin. His face is pale, shock. A woman, late 30s, sitting next to him, arms around a girl. The girl, 11 years old, eyes half closed, breathing shallow, skin cold, lips slightly blue. Sarah. Ford kneels. I'm Harrison. I'm here to help. The mother looks at him, doesn't recognize him, doesn't care who he is, just sees someone who might save her daughter. Please, she has diabetes. We ran out of insulin yesterday. She needs... I know. How long has she been like this? Since noon. She was talking. Then she got confused. Then she couldn't stay awake. Ford checks Sarah's pulse. Weak. Rapid. He checks her pupils. Sluggish response. He checks her breathing. Shallow. Classic signs of diabetic ketoacidosis. Without treatment, she has hours, maybe less. He opens the medical kit. No insulin. Rescue kits don't carry insulin because it requires refrigeration, but he has glucose gel, electrolyte solution, thermal blankets. He squeezes glucose gel into Sarah's mouth. She doesn't swallow. He massages her throat. She swallows. A little. He gives her more. Waits. Checks her pulse again. Still weak, but steady. He turns to the father. "Can you walk?" The man shakes his head. "Tried. Can't." Ford looks at the leg. Compound fracture. Moving him wrong could sever an artery, but leaving him here means making 2 trips, and Sarah doesn't have time for 2 trips. He makes a decision, wraps the father's leg with splints from the medical kit. Duct tape. Doesn't need to be perfect, just needs to stabilize. Then he helps the mother to her feet, puts his arm around her. She can barely walk, dehydrated, exhausted. He half carries her. "Can you make it to the plane?" She nods. 600 meters. Follow me. Stay close. They move, slow. The mother leans on Ford. He supports her weight, guides her over rocks, around trees, step by step. She's crying or trying to, too dehydrated for tears. They reach the clearing. The Cessna waits. Ford helps her inside, lays her in one of the seats, gives her water. Not too much. Sips. "Stay here. I'm getting your family." He turns, runs back to the ravine. The father and daughter are where he left them. Sarah's eyes are closed now. Ford checks her pulse. Still there. Barely. He looks at the father. "This is going to hurt." "I don't care." Ford lifts him. Fireman's carry. The man weighs maybe 190, plus his own weight, plus the uneven terrain. Ford is 60 years old. Doesn't matter. He carries him. Step. Adjust weight. Step. Breathe. Step. His back screams. His knees protest. He doesn't slow down. Keeps moving. 400 meters. 300, 200. He reaches the Cessna, lowers the father into a seat, goes back for Sarah, scoops her up. She weighs nothing. A child. Small. Fragile. Dying. He places her in the back seat, straps her in, wraps her in thermal blankets. She doesn't open her eyes. Ford climbs into the pilot seat, starts the engine. The turboprop roars. He doesn't run through the checklist. No time. He throttles up. The Cessna accelerates. The clearing is shorter this direction, 300 meters to the trees. He pulls back, nose up. The wheels leave ground with 40 meters to spare, 40 meters between flight and catastrophe. He climbs, banks east. The nearest hospital with a trauma center, Loma Linda University Medical Center. Flight time, 17 minutes. Sarah has maybe 30. Ford pushes the throttle. The Cessna tops out at 174 knots. He's doing 180. The engine strains. He doesn't care. Behind him, the mother is talking to Sarah, begging her to stay awake, telling her it's going to be okay, telling her they're almost there, telling her to hold on. Sarah doesn't respond. 5:52 p.m. Ford radios ahead. Loma Linda. This is Cessna N238 Charlie Foxtrot. Inbound emergency medical, 11-year-old female, diabetic crisis, request priority landing, and ground medical team standing by. The tower responds immediately. Copy, Cessna 238 Charlie Foxtrot. You are cleared for emergency approach runway 24. Medical team is being dispatched. The hospital appears ahead. Ford descends, fast. Maybe too fast. He doesn't care. Levels at 500 feet, 300, 100. The runway rises. He cuts power, flares. The wheels slam down hard. The Cessna bounces. He brakes. Maximum. The plane shudders. Stops. Ambulance is already there. Lights flashing. Paramedics running toward the plane. Ford opens the door. They pull Sarah out, strap her to a gurney. Run. The mother tries to follow. A paramedic stops her, checks her vitals. She fights, wants to stay with her daughter. They tell her she needs treatment too. She collapses. They catch her, get her on a gurney. She disappears into the hospital. The father sits in the plane, leg still splinted with duct tape and medical kit parts. 2 paramedics help him out. Careful. He screams once. They apologize. Get him on a gurney. Gone. Ford sits in the pilot seat, alone. The engine still running. He shuts it down. Silence. A doctor approaches. Young, maybe 30. Are you the pilot? Ford nods. You just saved that girl's life. Another hour and... Is she going to make it? We're doing everything we can. That's not an answer. The doctor pauses. Her glucose was 28. Normal is 70 to 100. She's in severe DKA. We're administering insulin and fluids now. Next 6 hours are critical. Ford stands. Climbs out of the plane. His back hurts, his knees hurt. He doesn't care. Can I see her? Are you family? No. Then I'm sorry, we can only... I understand. Ford walks to the Cessna, runs his hand along the fuselage, checks for damage. Everything looks intact. He'll do a full inspection later. Right now, he just wants to go home. He refuels, files a flight plan back to Santa Monica, takes off. The sun is setting, orange and red across the horizon. Beautiful. Empty. He lands at Santa Monica at 7:41 p.m., taxis to his hangar, shuts down, sits in the cockpit for 3 minutes, doesn't move, just breathes. Then he gets out, locks the plane, walks to his truck, drives home. At the Kodak Theatre, the premiere is in full swing. Cameras flash, celebrities smile, entertainment reporters ask questions about fashion and upcoming projects. Michelle stands near the entrance, watches, seethes. Ford's name is still on the invite list. People keep asking where he is. She says he had a personal emergency. They ask what kind. She says she can't comment. They speculate. The speculation will be in tomorrow's tabloids. Her phone rings. Patricia. Tell me he showed up. He didn't. Then start updating your resume. Patricia hangs up. Michelle stands there, surrounded by lights and cameras and beautiful people doing beautiful things that mean absolutely nothing. Somewhere, Harrison Ford is probably in his house, drinking coffee, not thinking about any of this. She's never hated anyone more in her entire career. March 12th, 6:47 a.m. Ford wakes up, checks his phone, 83 missed calls, 61 text messages, 23 voicemails. He doesn't check any of them, makes coffee instead. Black, no sugar, sits on his back porch, watches the sunrise. His landline rings. He almost doesn't answer, then does. Harrison Ford. Mr. Ford, this is Dr. Rebecca Chen from Loma Linda Medical Center. I'm calling about Sarah Mitchell, the patient you brought in yesterday. Ford sits up. Is she... She's stable. We got her glucose normalized. She's awake, talking. Her parents wanted me to call you. They'd like to thank you in person. They're asking if you could... No. Silence. I'm sorry? Tell them I'm glad she's okay. Tell them to focus on recovery. Tell them they don't need to thank me. Mr. Ford, they're very insistent. Her mother is... Doctor, I did what anyone with a plane would have done. There's nothing to thank. No need for contact. Please respect that. I understand, but thank you for calling. He hangs up, sits, drinks his coffee, thinks about a girl he'll never see again, a family that will always be strangers, a moment that mattered more than any red carpet he'll ever walk. His phone rings again. Michelle. He answers. Do you have any idea what you've done? Saved a life. You breached a contract. Studios are threatening to sue. Brands are demanding refunds. Press is writing hit pieces. Your entire professional reputation is based on playing heroes in movies, Michelle. Sometimes you have to be one when the cameras aren't watching. This isn't a movie, Harrison. This is business, and business has consequences. I know. Then why? Because some things matter more than business. Like what? Like an 11-year-old girl not dying alone in a forest. Michelle is quiet. For a long time, then. You just cost us 7 figures in PR value. A girl is alive. That's the only figure that matters. The studios won't see it that way. I don't care how the studios see it. You should, because they're never going to forget this. Neither am I. I can live with that. She hangs up. Ford finishes his coffee, goes inside, takes a shower, gets dressed, drives to the hangar, inspects his Cessna, every bolt, every wire, every surface. Everything looks good. The plane did its job. So did he. He doesn't think about the premiere, doesn't think about the contracts, doesn't think about the consequences. He thinks about a girl waking up in a hospital bed instead of dying in a ravine. That's enough. That's always been enough. 3 days later, a letter arrives. No return address. Handwritten. Ford opens it. Mr. Ford, we don't know how to thank you for what you did. Our daughter is alive because you cared enough to look when everyone else had stopped looking. The hospital told us you don't want contact. We respect that. But we need you to know. You gave us our daughter back. You gave her a future. We will never forget. We will make sure she never forgets. If you ever need anything at all, please know we are forever in your debt. The Mitchell family. At the bottom, a child's handwriting. Unsteady, careful. Thank you for saving my life. Sarah. Ford folds the letter, puts it in a drawer in his desk, locks the drawer, never looks at it again, but he knows it's there. 2 weeks later, Michelle resigns as his publicist. Professional differences, she says. Can't work with someone who doesn't understand priorities, she says. 8 months building a relationship with a studio, destroyed in 4 hours, she says. Ford doesn't argue, thanks her for her work, wishes her well, hires someone new. Someone who understands that sometimes you skip the party to save the stranger. Studios don't forget. They start offering Ford roles with escape clauses, just in case he decides to disappear again. His agent negotiates higher fees to compensate for the perceived risk. Ford doesn't care about the fees, takes roles he wants, skips roles he doesn't, lives his life on his terms. The entertainment press speculates. Some say he had a breakdown. Some say it was a publicity stunt. Some say he's difficult, unpredictable, unreliable. The stories multiply. The truth stays buried. Nobody asks about a girl in San Bernardino. Nobody knows to ask. March 2023, 20 years later. Sarah Mitchell is 31 years old, married, 2 children, Harrison Jr., age 7, Amelia, age 4. She works as an emergency room nurse at Loma Linda Medical Center, the same hospital where Ford brought her 2 decades ago. She requested that assignment specifically. Wanted to give back to the place that gave her life. Every March 12th, she receives a postcard. No signature, no return address. Postmarked from different cities every year. Los Angeles, New York, London, Jackson Hole. The message is always the same. Keep flying. She knows who sends them. She's never told anyone. Her children know there's a story. Know their middle names, Harrison and Ford. Means something. She tells them when they're old enough to understand. There was a man who didn't have to help, who had better things to do, who had a whole industry telling him to be somewhere else. And he helped anyway, not for credit, not for cameras, not for anything except knowing that helping was the right thing to do. Harrison Jr. asks, "Will I ever meet him?" Sarah shakes her head. "Probably not. He doesn't want thanks. He just wants to know we're okay." "How does he know we're okay?" She smiles. "I write back, every year, same day." Just 2 words, still flying. In a drawer in her bedroom, she keeps a collection, 20 postcards, 20 letters, a lifetime of silent conversation with a man who saved her life and never asked for anything in return. She also keeps something else, a newspaper clipping, yellowed, fragile, from March 13th, 2003. The headline reads, "Harrison Ford mysteriously absent from major premiere. Representatives cite personal emergency." The article speculates, health crisis, family emergency. Professional dispute. It lists the consequences. Damaged relationships, potential lawsuits, career risk. It never mentions a girl, never mentions a mountain, never mentions a Cessna 208 flying low over wilderness when everyone else had given up. Sarah has tried to make the story public 3 times, 2008, 2013, 2018. Each time she receives a letter from Ford's attorney, polite, firm, requesting privacy, threatening legal action if she uses his name publicly in connection with the rescue. Not because he's ashamed, because some moments aren't meant to be content. She respects it, tells her children, tells her husband, tells the patients she saves in the ER when they ask why she became a nurse. But she doesn't tell the press, doesn't sell the story, doesn't write the book, honors the man who honored her life by staying silent when silence was hard. Have you ever had someone save your life who didn't want credit for it? Have you ever been rescued by someone who disappeared before you could say thank you? Have you ever wondered how many heroes walk among us who will never make headlines because they choose silence over spotlight? Harrison Ford flew search and rescue missions for 31 years. The public knows about maybe 3 of them, the ones that couldn't be hidden, the ones where witnesses talked. The rest, buried in flight logs and fading memories and families who keep secrets because a hero asked them to. He's 76 years old now, still flies, still volunteers, still chooses mountains over red carpets when someone needs finding. The industry forgave him eventually, had to. He's Harrison Ford, but Michelle Baker never did. She tells the story at industry events, uses it as a cautionary tale. What happens when you let talent dictate terms, when you lose control of the narrative, when someone values life over brand? She still doesn't understand that some narratives aren't meant to be controlled. Some moments are too real for PR strategies. Some choices are too important for contracts. A girl woke up in a hospital instead of dying in a forest. That's the only narrative that matters, the only story that's real, the only headline that should have been written but never was. It wasn't entertainment, it was a person's life. And unfortunately, they don't make men like Harrison Ford anymore.